Hey guys! So today, let's talk about someone you might remember from back in the day, Sisqó, the guy who made the world sing Thong the Thong Thong Thong. Yeah, that guy. His hit song was everywhere in the early 2000s. But have you ever wondered why he just vanished from the spotlight? Well, get ready, because the story behind Sisqó's rise and fall is a lot more wild than you might think. Before going solo, Sisqó was actually the lead singer of an R&B group called Dru Hill. They were doing well in the late 1990s, but when one member left the group, the rest decided to try solo careers. That's when Sisqó came out with his first solo album, Unleash the Dragon, in 1999. At first, things were moving kind of slow, but then, in 2000, everything changed when Sisqó dropped his second single, the famous Thong Song. He didn't even plan for it to be a big deal. It started as a joke between him and his friends. One of them told a funny story about a girl wearing a thong, and Sisqó couldn't stop laughing. That little joke ended up turning into one of the most unforgettable songs of the decade. The beat was catchy, the lyrics were wild, and the vibe was just fun. Suddenly, Sisqó wasn't just another singer. He was a superstar. The song was everywhere, on the radio, in music videos, and in clubs. Fans were dancing, singing, and wearing thongs like it was a movement. Just when it seemed like Sisqó had made it big for good, the problems started. One day, his lawyer called him and told him to sit down. Literally. Why? Because there was a lawsuit coming. Apparently, the song used a line from Ricky Martin's hit Livin' La Vida Loca without getting permission first. Sisqó thought it would be okay because he knew the songwriter Desmond Child, but no one actually cleared it before releasing the track. So Ricky Martin's team wasn't happy. They threatened to sue. And when the dust settled, Desmond Child ended up owning a huge chunk of the song. Yup, even though Sisqó sang it and made it famous, a lot of the money didn't go to him. He even said that when he started noticing his checks shrinking, he realized how much ownership Desmond really had. But that wasn't the only thing that got in Sisqó's way. According to people close to him, Sisqó wasn't interested in doing all the things that music industry executives wanted him to do to stay famous. He just wanted to make good music and keep his soul intact. He didn't want to sell out. And he said that some people in the business didn't like that. He told reporters that sometimes it felt like business people cared more about promoting the music than making good music. He tried to walk a line between staying real and staying popular, but it wasn't easy. He knew that by not playing their game, the powerful people behind the scenes might push him aside, and that's exactly what started happening. Sisqó also had a habit of keeping things in the family. When he made music, he hired his own people, his uncle, his cousin, even friends from back home in Baltimore. But the record label didn't like that. They wanted him to use their producers, their engineers, and their rappers. When Sisqó said no, they called him hard to work with. Sisqó later said he wasn't trying to be difficult, he was just trying to give his people a shot. He believed in sharing his success and feeding his community, but to the music industry, it didn't matter. They started labeling him as a problem, and that label stuck. Just when Sisqó was trying to keep his music career afloat, things took another bad turn. In 2002, R. Kelly dropped a diss track aimed directly at him. Yes, that R. Kelly. He accused Sisqó of copying his style, and even said that his solo music was a flop. Sisqó didn't stay quiet though. He clapped back and said that artists like Nas and R. Kelly were trying to hold him down. He claimed there was blackballing happening and that some powerful people in the industry were making sure he didn't shine anymore. This was no small thing. Back in the early 2000s, R. Kelly was one of the most powerful voices in R&B. So going against him was risky. Even if Sisqó was telling the truth, many people in the industry might have turned their backs on him just to stay on R. Kelly's good side. And some fans didn't even realize that this drama was happening at all. They just saw Sisqó disappearing and assumed he fell off. Now, here's where things start getting really uncomfortable. There have always been whispers about what it takes to stay on top in the music industry. And during the late 90s and early 2000s, there were lots of rumors going around about powerful men behind the scenes who allegedly made creepy advances toward young male artists. Sisqó, with his bold fashion, bleached hair, and flamboyant style, became a target for gossip. People started speculating about his sexuality, and some of those rumors were used against him. But the reality is that he may have rejected certain people who expected favors in return for fame and protection. Word on the street is that Sisqó didn't play ball. He turned down the so-called gatekeepers who were running things behind the scenes. And in a toxic, hyper-masculine R&B era, that was dangerous. Instead of celebrating his style and originality, some people used it as a weapon to shame and isolate him. So now you've got a guy who won't sell out, won't play the fame game, and refuses to bow down to the industry elite. And just like that, his name starts getting erased from the spotlight. And if all that wasn't enough, Sisqó also had to deal with legal battles and personal drama that drained his energy and his wallet. One of the biggest lawsuits came from something that should have been protecting him, his music royalties. Sisqó hired a company called 27 Red Music to collect his royalties from all his work between 1996 and 2005. But guess what? Sisqó says they collected the money but never gave it to him. According to court documents, he was missing out on over $600,000, and he was asking for even more in damages. Then came the baby mama drama. Sisqó had a child during his tour years, and the fallout from that situation made headlines too. Public records show that dealing with child support issues also added more pressure to his already stressful situation. After all the drama, lawsuits, and industry rejection, Sisqó still tried to make a comeback. But by then, the music world had changed. In several interviews, he talked about how everything was becoming about quantity over quality. Labels wanted fast music, easy money, and artists who followed orders. That wasn't Sisqó's style. He said he had tons of unreleased songs, but didn't want to just drop music without meaning. In his words, that would be irresponsible to your fans and to your music. Sisqó didn't want to fake it just to stay famous. He said it clearly. "I didn't want to sell out to stay in front of the camera. That's phony." To him, making music wasn't about chasing trends. It was about being real. But that mindset didn't match the industry's new rules. And slowly, it felt like he was being left behind on purpose. In 2015, Sisqó finally announced a brand new solo album. After 12 years, he was ready to show the world he still had it. But the pressure was huge. Sisqó said it felt like being a brand new artist all over again. He hoped his fans were still out there. But when the album dropped, it barely made any noise, sales were low, media coverage was weak. Even some longtime fans didn't know he had new music out. It was a clear sign that something deeper was going on. This wasn't just about numbers. It looked like his career had been quietly shut down. The support wasn't there. Now let's get into one of the most shocking parts of Sisqó's story. Most people think that after making a hit like Thong Song, you're set for life. But that wasn't the case for him. During an interview with Vlad TV, Sisqó was asked if the money from Thong Song lasted through all those years. His answer: "Well, technically I didn't have to go to work, if that's what you're asking." Sounds okay, right? But here's the twist. It turns out that Desmond Child, the man who wrote Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca, ended up with more ownership of Thong Song than anyone else. Why? Because Sisqó included a line from that song in all 3 verses of Thong Song, the part where he says, "She was livin' la vida loca." His producers warned him to get it cleared, but Sisqó thought it wouldn't be a problem because of his connection to Desmond. Well, it became a major problem. Ricky Martin's team threatened to sue after the song blew up. Eventually, they settled out of court, but the price was high. Desmond Child ended up controlling a big chunk of the publishing rights. Sisqó admitted that as the checks started shrinking, he realized how much of the song he no longer owned. Imagine creating a mega hit and watching someone else cash in on it more than you. So now we've got a picture that's much bigger than just a catchy summer anthem. Sisqó faced rejection from the industry, got tangled in legal messes, and lost control of the very song that made him famous. But the deeper question still remains. Was Sisqó just ahead of his time, or was he intentionally erased for refusing to play by the rules? Stay tuned, subscribe, share and like, because the next part might just shake the whole industry.